The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chili. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili. On this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise, I'll introduce you to some interesting people, unique places, and leaders in health. Are you in pain and seeking alternative therapies to make you feel better? We'll get the answers from Chiro First Wellness Center. We all want to be forever young. We'll check out the popular publication that has a new look with great information. And we'll light up the Tinderbox Buffalo. All on this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise. Stay with us. Hi, I'm Joe Chili, mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Dr. Mo from Chiro First Wellness Center. Doctor?
How are you?
Nice to see you today.
Same here.
You know, let's talk a little bit about what's different about your center. I mean, I know we've probably all experienced things with the chiropractors before, and they, you know, I know they used to refer to, you know, going in and getting adjusted and popped and cracked and all this kind of jazz. It's come a long way from things like that, right?
There's a lot of different technology out there. We're proud to say that we boast that we have one of the best technologies out there, ProAdjuster technology. It's a adjusting tool that we can help patients without any twisting, turning, cracking, or popping. We have all kinds of patients coming in, people that have had surgeries that, you know, maybe told that they were never, they couldn't get adjusted again. Now they're coming in our office and we're helping them and alleviating some of their pain and symptoms.
You know, it's funny because some people are adverse to doctor. If I have to go see a doctor, they get kind of nervous. So I wouldn't think that going to a chiropractor would cause any sort of fear in individuals, but there are some people that just, you know, have a little bit of a fear of that too, right?
Some people are afraid of being manipulated. They're afraid of being cracked, right? So the tools that we have in our office, like the ProAdjuster, like our spinal decompression, can help alleviate a lot of those symptoms and a lot of that pain. Without that, you know, manipulation or twisting, turning, cracking, or popping, and it's very effective. And we've had a lot of patients over the years that come back and refer their friends and family because of that.
Is it something, do they have to lay down on something? Do they have to have, you know, different leads put on them? I mean, how does something like this work with the ProAdjuster?
It's a instrument-assisted tool, and the person is in either a comfortable seated position if they can't lay down, or we can lay them down if need be. So what it does is it delivers a gentle percussive force into the spine or into other joints and into the muscles to help restore range of motion and alignment.
Wow. So it's kind of like hands off.
Pretty much, yeah.
Really? Tell us about some of the other things. Now, spinal decompression, I guess buzzword now, shockwave therapy. Tell us about these things, what they do.
So the spinal decompression is great for herniated, bulging disc, for even degenerated disc syndrome, and people having radiating symptoms going down into their legs or down into their arms. What it does is it gently just tractions or stretches out the spine, and it kind of pumps the disc to take that pressure off those nerves, alleviating the pain. And the shockwave therapy is different as well, because what that does is it sends like a percussive sound wave into a joint or into a muscle to break up scar tissue, help increase range of motion, and reduce pain. It's very, very effective. We've seen a lot of benefits with that, bringing it to the office.
Didn't they do something similar to that with kidney stones?
Yes. So it's the same technology that they would use with lithotripsy. So they've just modified it where now you can use it for musculoskeletal conditions.
And what about the laser? You talked a little bit about the MLS laser. What does this do?
So it's a class 4 laser, but it's different. It's a multi-locked system, so it fires 2 different wavelengths of energy at the same time to help reduce pain, to help increase range of motion, and to help speed up recovery. So we have a lot of patients that may come in post-surgical for like a knee issue, or they may have like a what we call a hot disc where their body's really inflamed, and you can use that to help alleviate the pain without even physically touching that area.
All right, now, the minute that I say laser, somebody's going to say, oh, I'm going to get burned. It's going to hurt. You know, tell us about that.
They won't get burnt. It is made to use for on musculoskeletal conditions, and the MLS laser specifically that we have is you can also use that on joint replacements, which is the only class 4 laser that you can actually use on joint replacements.
If someone was to come in for something like that, maybe it's a muscular thing or something of this nature, how many times, how many visits do they have to come in for? Is it an extended period of time?
It's different for everybody, and it depends on what we need to use. So for instance, we've had patients come in for frozen shoulder. You know, they've done all kinds of therapies and treatments, PT, chiro, injections. We've had patients come in for 8 visits with the shockwave therapy, full range of motion, all the pain is gone, and they feel great.
What about neuropathy? We hear a lot of people talking about this now, and maybe it's related to, you know, type 2 diabetes or whatever. People have tingling in their feet, you know, in their legs. Can any of these things that you talk about help that?
Yeah, so we use a combination of the laser therapy along with the shockwave, as well as something else that we have in our office called Rebuilder to help with neuropathy symptoms. And kind of marrying those 3 different technologies together has been very effective for our neuropathy patients.
So it's not something where it sounds like the days of you're just getting older, you're going to have to live with it. It sounds like those days may be gone. You may be able to modify these things even if you're an older patient.
Exactly. So, you know, these technologies are out there. They're helping patients with their symptoms without the use of any drugs or surgery, and they're enhancing their lives.
What about massage therapy? Do you do that as well?
We have a great massage therapist in our office, and she's, you know, constantly busy and does really, really good in combination with the chiropractic and the massage and all the other things that we have together. When you combine all that, people leave feeling great.
What do you think is the most common ailment that people come to you for?
Number one thing that people come in for is low back issues and hip issues. Those are number 1 and 2, and then also neck would be, you know, on the top of the list as well.
Yeah, I think with people looking down at their cell phones like this all the time, and, you know, and then your neck is going to bother you, or the computer, right? That's another thing that people do. All right, in the event that people want to come and see you, they can come and see you for an evaluation, and you'll kind of figure out what they may need, right?
Exactly. Come in, initial consult, eval, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Moe. We appreciate it. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Chiro First Wellness Center by calling 716-675-2225 or go to ChiroFirstWellnessCenter.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by Chiro First Wellness Center. And make sure you join me morning 7 to 9 a.m. on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Hi, I'm Joe Chili. Mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Barbara Max, publisher of Forever Young, Buffalo Spree Publishing. Hard for me to say, easy for you to say. You know, that's right. And an old friend of mine.
Absolutely.
Great to see you.
Same here.
In person.
Right away.
Normally we're talking on the phone or on Zoom or something of that nature, but you know, I have to tell you, I'm really excited about, you know, I say this is a new venture, but it's kind of like an extension of a new venture.
That's an exact perfect way to put it.
Right. Buffalo Spree Magazine is now, it's not a newspaper any longer, it is a magazine.
That's correct.
And it's a very glossy, very pretty, very well set up. Now, would it be anything else if you were handling, right? You know, magazine. And why? Why the change from the newspaper to the magazine?
You know, it's time. It was just time. We've done a newspaper for well over 25 years. Our reader knows Buffalo Spree, and they want to know, why can't the magazine look like the magazine Buffalo Spree puts out, but for seniors? We wanted to give a look to something that they would keep, that it wouldn't be read for a week or two and then gone. this is a keeper. This is going to be something that's around forever. It gives the writer the opportunity to share their words a little bit differently. Glossy, full color, gorgeous does that to the writer. It gives them an oomph. I don't know.
Does the writer, do your writers feel like they've taken a step up?
Oh, they love it. Yeah, they think
become more glamorous.
It's great, and it is the same writer as it was before. Many of the writers were kept. I don't think we let anybody go. They all wanted to stay with us. But what it gives them is an uplift. It's a change. You can only do so much with newsprint, and then it goes away. You can only distribute it to certain places, and then it goes away. As great and successful as Forever Young has been for 25 plus years, it was time to make a change.
You know what the great thing is about it when you're talking about this? No newsprint.
No newsprint.
That's a good thing. The old adage is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
But I guess some people say, if it ain't broke, break it, right? And you kind of went by that adage?
Well, we didn't break it. We took some of the same stories and upgraded them. We're sharing them a little differently. We're bringing in new specific sections, things that are just fun to look at. This is, see this corn husk? Mm-hmm. It's a fun feature. People look at it and find out things about silly things going on in the community. It can be a person, it can be a place, it can be a thing. It gives the writer and the reader a chance to know more and feel more and understand more about the community, because that's what a magazine's job is to do. So we're offering it in a different format.
And you're doing it one kernel at a time?
One kernel at a time. And there's 800 kernels in every ear of corn.
Okay. All right. I get it. This is, I think it's great. I think, you and I have talked about the fact before that unfortunately with a newspaper, with Forever Young, I mean, you'd read it, mm-hmm. and after you read it, you become kind of dog-eared, and it's kind of like, and then you set it down on a coffee table, and then you set things on top of it.
Right.
Coffee, apple core, whatever it might
Icky.
be. And then it just gets thrown away.
Right.
But something like this
doesn't.
No, because it looks, I think it's the fact that you put so much time into this, and it looks so beautiful that nobody wants to just cast it aside, right?
Well, remember last year and all the years prior, we did a book once a year.
Right.
And it was called Forever Young Directory. And it kind of the same, but not as gorgeous, not as complete of information, more of a directory than anything else. And people loved it. So the transition we made wasn't to get rid of Forever Young. It was to change Forever Young to be more sophisticated, to be more of the 2000s, to be 2025.
As a reader, I'll look at this and I say, they're spending more money. They're making it glossier, they're making it bigger, which gives me the feeling that it's going to last long term.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not just the magazine, but yourself, the organization, the people, the writers.
Right.
And I mean, that's what you want to do, right? That's, that's part of what you're communicating to people. Where do you get the magazine?
It's distributed all over Western New York. Senior centers, doctor's offices, medical centers, libraries, senior facilities where people live. It's kind of snuck into a couple grocery stores, not really sure how it got there, but who's asking? So it's going to places that people hang out. You might go out in the morning for coffee and there's a group of men who are there and they're there every single day. They're the first ones to pick this up. We print 20,000 of them, distribute them, and they're more than half gone already.
Really?
So, yeah.
And this is the spring and summer version?
Yes.
So when is the next?
October. October. And it will come out twice a year in 2025. And, we might sneak in a third one in 2026.
Always thinking ahead.
Always.
Very forward thinking.
Thank you.
I think that's great. Barbara Max, thank you so much
You're welcome.
For the magazine and for telling us all about it. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Forever Young by calling 716-783-9119 or go to foreveryoungwny.com. Sponsorship and promotional considerations for the preceding segment was provided by Forever Young, and you can join me weekday mornings 7 to 9 a.m. on the Big WECK. Hi, I'm Joe Chili, mornings from 7 to 9 at Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Jim Dvorak, who is the owner of the Tinderbox Buffalo. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Doing good.
Good to see you today. You know, this is kind of a unique store. Now, do I understand that you moved into a new location?
Correct, yeah. After 29 years of our old location, we lost our lease, and so we moved to a new location.
Was that a freaky thing for you? I mean, 29 years, and you have to go to a new location. Is it?
A little sooner than I wanted, but yeah.
But, you know, if you have a name and a reputation that your clientele really like, love, whatever, they're going to follow you, right? You just have to let them know where you're going, and, you know, and is that the way it worked out?
Yeah, I mean, we only moved 1 mile south down Transit Road. We're part of the old Brennan's Bowery Bar, which a lot of people remember from that day. So we're at Main and Transit, where we used to be at Maple and Transit.
Tell us a little bit about what the reason for the store. Now, is it something that, you know, you look rather young to have brought this, you know, up 30 years ago, but I mean, so was it your dad's idea that this came from?
Correct. My dad 30 years ago saw a market or a need for a premium cigar shop in Western New York. He had a job where he traveled everywhere, had to entertain clients, and they did entertaining and things of that nature in cigar shops, and there was nothing like that in Western New York at the time.
And is it a misnomer to think, you know, whenever I see somebody with a good cigar, I see them with a drink in their hand? Is that, do they go hand in hand?
It's a nice pairing. It's a nice pairing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? So when people come in, do you have a regular bar? Do people bring their own liquor in? How do you work it out?
It's what they call a bottle club. I actually have a bottle club license, so you can bring your own in. We cannot sell it.
Gotcha.
You bring it in, we provide glasses, ice.
And cigars. Now, are there a variety of different? You see, I'm not really a smoker, so I don't kind of understand. Is there, you know, there are a variety of different things when people drink, or even if they have soft drinks. There's a bunch of different brands out there. What about cigars?
Yeah, cigars, you know, run the whole, you know, mild to full-bodied, almost like your bourbons, your wines, where you can get complex ones, you can get simple ones. There's even a market for flavored or infused cigars. And cigars, yes, they're nice to pair with, you know, after a heavy meal. You might want, you know, something with a little more complexity, a little more body that you usually have. Same thing when you're drinking a nice glass of bourbon or scotch. You don't want that cigar just to get lost in it and just be too mild. So there is definitely pairings, you know, when you're eating, drinking.
Now, I'm going to ask you kind of a weird question here. Demographic, is it all male? Are there any women that smoke cigars as well?
There are, and because of the separation now, the newness of the lounge, we're seeing a lot more women than we ever used to, which is, you know, really nice. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it is a male-dominated hobby, yeah. But there are women out there that smoke, and very knowledgeable women out there that smoke too.
What about if you start talking about accessories? What kind of accessories would you have for cigars?
I would say by far in Western New York, we have the most accessories of any store in Western New York. Lighters, cutters, humidors, ashtrays, carrying cases. It's always nice to, you know, once you keep up with the hobby, to, you know, expand on those.
You know, it's funny, I never really had the opportunity to ask this, but I've seen people, friends, that don't necessarily smoke, but they're chewing at it. It almost looks like they're chewing on a cigar. They're walking the dog, they got a cigar in their mouth, it's never lit. And I'm saying, what's the purpose of that? Have you seen people do that as well?
Yeah, very limited, but it is out there, yeah.
Just, I don't understand it. Now, do you have special events and things too?
Yes, we have a lot of special events at the store, special sales events. You know, manufacturers will come in, and you get tastings of their cigars, and then there'll be sales on the line that they carry. Usually there's swag, you know, cutters, lighters, ashtrays, travel cases that they'll give away with, you know, larger purchases.
You know, that's really weird. Do people, I don't see people with a lot of lighters anymore. They're disposable lighters, but you're talking about the old style lighters that are, you know, metal, polished, whatever they are.
Yeah, I mean, for cigar smoking, which is primarily the lighters that we do carry, they're windproof or wind resistant because most people, if you don't have a lounge, are smoking outside, golf courses, backyards. And so most of our lighters are cigar lighters, and which will look almost like mini torches. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4.
And what's in the cutter is you cut the end of the cigar?
Correct. Premium cigars are finished with a cap, and you have to remove that cap. Guillotine cutters, there's punch cutters, V cuts that'll take, you know, smaller
in diameter.
Smaller parts of the cigar off.
It's just kind of a unique type thing, but you have a very staid, stoic clientele. I mean, you have a clientele that comes regularly for the events, for the cigars, for whatever, and it's constantly growing?
Yes, yeah. Especially with the new location, we're seeing a lot more newer faces just because of, again, the size and the comfort of the new lounge. And the ventilation, that's very important too.
Never really thought about that. That's got to be, you know, I was thinking I used to be a target shooter, so that ventilation was very important for that. I would imagine for something like a place like this, and if you have a lounge where people are going to come into, you know, you need some very good ventilation. So that sounds great. Jim Dvorak, Tinderbox Buffalo, thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
For more information and answers to your questions, contact Tinderbox Buffalo by calling 716-689-2914 or go to tinderboxbuffalo.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by Tinderbox Buffalo. And join me weekday mornings, 7 to 9 a.m. on the Big WECK.
Thanks for watching this edition of the Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigweck.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to the Big WECK, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.